Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're all doing well, and welcome to this showdown between Tzeentch and the Ogre Kingdoms. It's going to be myself with the Herald facing off against Subutai, who's going to be coming in with the old Tyrant. Haven't seen him in some time. It should be fun here on the road to Val's Anvil. Very big map, a little bit risky to go elite on, but you know what? I like to party, and hopefully we'll get a good grind against the Ogre. So frontline is going to be Elite Chosen of Tzeentch with the Halberds. Now, obviously, I don't need to explain why these are good. They're heavily armored, and many Ogre units do lack armor piercing. And on top of that, they have big, long, pointy sticks that, of course, have anti-large. So their job is just to get in the front, get in the grind with the Ogre units, and enjoy their best life. In the back, we got blues, as well as the chromatic abominations, a little bit of shooting, a little bit of capture weight, and also, they're usually okay to fight things like Noblars. Now, the best unit on the roster here is going to be the Arawar Aspiring Champions, the Severed Claws of Tzeentch. These things are absolutely insane. And you'll notice pretty much every game they're in. Not every game, but most of the time, the Aspiring Champions are just the last thing standing. They are so tough to kill. And unlike the other Aspiring Champions, the basic version, these guys actually have some stopping power. They have, of course, better stats. And on top of that, they have good armor piercing and anti-large show. We'll see what they can do here. Up in the sky, we have a goon squad of our own. We do have the Herald of Tzeentch with the blue fire, and he's going to be riding with an iridescent horror. And they both have missile attacks, so you basically just find the Ogre characters, you snipe them, and you can also go after lead belchers and various other single entities they have, like iron blasters sometimes make an appearance, and these little bandits can certainly do some good hunting on those. Now, for the forces of Subutai here, he's going to be rocking a fairly standard Ogre army, with the exception of the Lord, which is a bit different. But Snoblars with Ogre Bulls, more Ogre Bulls, and a couple more Ogre Bulls in tandem with some Lead Belchers. So Lead Belcher shooting is a very nice answer against Halberds. If you can line up my Chosen, get some good DAC on them before they really get into combat, certainly can pay some huge dividends. Tyrant's kind of a neat choice. He, in theory, is a little bit tougher to snipe because he does have the self-healing, so he does have the stacks. And I would imagine there is going to be a caster getting called in soon as well, too. So we'll see how long the Tyrant can last here. I still feel like he's pretty susceptible to being sniped by the old gremlins, but we'll keep tabs on him. Herald of Tzeentch, as well as the other man. Oh, look at that. We get like the high view. That's actually kind of a cool looking view, isn't it? Yeah, kind of neat. But we're going to be trying to take down the shooting. Knowing that that's the biggest issue, we do have our little popcorn bandits up here on their discs, and they are going to be shooting their laser beams and trying to take down the lead belchers using blue fires. Blue fires are going to be doing some respectable damage. And so far, we have taken down 3 lead belchers, which isn't bad. Also, they're very small targets, so with a little bit of juking and also utilizing the terrain, we can pop back and forth. The one scary thing I was kind of feeling right now, looking at his army, I was like, if I try and send something down here on its own, it's going to be very unsupported considering how elite I am. So my overall game plan here was to take Objective 1 through just brute force and grinding, and then take Objective 2 and hopefully do it quick enough to just win on 2 points. That was kind of my game plan. Screamers coming in. Screamers a very good tool against Ogre Kingdoms. They can dive the backfield and most of the things that the Ogres would defend their backfield with. So let's say you're going after like a Lead Belcher, right? Well, they're probably going to use Ogres to defend that. Well, Ogres also aren't amazing against Screamers. I mean, in a straight up fight, Ogres can do some work because of the low melee defense, but if the Screamers get the jump on them, like from the sky, it's very cost effective here. So Lead Belcher is getting the old troll guts, and now the frontline fighting is underway. We do have the Chosen grinding it out with a little bit of firepower coming in there. Man, the Tzeentch Chosen are so cool looking. I'm always have the power fantasy to make a Tzeentch army in tabletop, but then I see the old Nurgle boys looking across the table. I'm like, all right, and we're back at it again. Round 10 with the old Nurgle armies. So Chosen of Tzeentch holding it down pretty well, and these Chosen not doing badly. Unfortunately, the Severed Claw does get tied up clearing out some chaff units, but not the end of the world. The idea was to send the Severed Claw down to Objective 2, but Subutai is able to grab that one with some Ogre Bulls, and he's going to be hanging in there doing his thing. Now, more Daka coming in. The Blue Horrors, not the worst fighters. They do have 24 melee defense, so, not going to hold up super long against these, but with a little bit of support from their demonic bird buddies, they might be able to actually win that fight. And the Chosen, of course, as expected, grinding through the front line very effectively, but those Lead Belchers appear to be shooting somewhat unimpeded. I believe they are going after the Severed Claw, but that is a tough target. They have like a weird low model count, and it's just, I find that a lot of like ranged heavy shooting does struggle to kill things like the Severed Claw. Now, I do finally spot his caster. I see the Butcher of the Great Maw here, so my 2 iridescent horrors, they only want Tzeentch to be the magic user here, so they're going to be using all their firepower, including blues and laser beams, to wear down that Butcher and hopefully mitigate some of the Ogre healing. In the backfield, did try and get some Forsaken up. Forsaken aren't the worst choice against Ogre Kingdoms. They can get there quickly. They hit relatively hard against light armor, which is many of the Ogre Blue units, but they're also quite vulnerable, very much a glass cannon. So supporting them with the Screamers, hopefully we can win this fight 2v1, start to push up, and now you can see the objective is going to be flipping in our favor a little bit as the 2 Tzeentch bandits up in the sky continue to hunt down their Ogre prize. Here they go, another shot, another 2 shots there. The Butcher getting a little bit beat up. Here we do clear off the Ogre Bulls and the Severed Claw. I'm not sure where they went. Yes, it looks like the Severed Claw made their way back up to the high ground objective to secure that one. And unfortunately, though, he's going to be grabbing the 2 low ground. And the thing is, Noblar Trappers in the most recent patch, like, I don't know who was smoking what, but when they gave them bonus versus infantry, Noblar Trappers will, like, straight up outtrade, you know, things like a lot of Chaos Marauders, and it's pretty absurd for sure. So that's like one of the big conundrums I'm facing here. I know he's got a Noblar Trapper here, and I did have some spears going because I was expecting the Ogre Bulls to be over here, right? Or to be coming in. So I was like, okay, I need spears. Maybe I'll be able to beat the Noblar Trappers even with my Spear Marauders, but you know, we're going to be learning a tough lesson there, to say the least. So here with the Butcher of the Great Maw, going to be fleeing, going to be chasing him down with the Disc Boys, and more laser beam shots, trying to finish him off so there's no more heals. And is he going to get popped in the face? He's sitting there 480, 341. Oh, man, he's so low. Probably going to be a shatter, though. That is basically death's bed. That's straight up Palpatining right here. So he will probably be running and shouldn't be too much of an issue going forward here. Up on the objective, we do get the Chaos Warriors with Halberds moving up. Chosen of Tzeentch looking extra beast mode as they continue grinding in. And honestly, are not getting terrible damage against the Ogre Lord. Those anti-large attacks will pay huge dividends against these elite Iron Guts and also against the Tyrant. I would wager they're probably sitting at about 700 or 800 value right now. Let's take a look. 1200, okay, certainly better than I expected. A little bit crumbled up, but we have managed to effectively push the Ogres off this objective for now. But you know, you can push the Ogres off one moment, and then a moment later, you know, there's a lot of big, thick dudes running at you, and it's a little bit scary. So at this point, I start to feel the pressure a little bit, and I do start to do a little bit of split pushing here. So we have the Screamers of Tzeentch and some Blues. A really, really nice combo for sure. The Blues give you just absorbing HP, and the Screamers stacked on top of the Blues are going to be able to do damage while mitigating one of their big weaknesses, which is their defensive prowess, right? But nonetheless, not bad trading, and the old Severed Claw is going to be trying to fight on this point, but Subutai doing the right thing and basically just tar-pitting the Severed Claw with the OP Noblar Trappers. So they're coming down with their dual-wielding daggers, and these poor Severed Claw are actually taking more damage than they ever took against the Ogres. That's for sure, but that's what happens when you have 160 models which have a bonus versus infantry. They're going to be good against infantry units. Up on the high ground, the Ogres, you look away for a second, they take the objective. I was like, what in tarnations is going on up here? So Chaos Warrior Halberds doing good, and Ogres are, you know, obviously in a little bit of a scary state in terms of value. I mean, I'm up on value. They do have healing. I have shield healing. But we have taken down their Slaughtermaster, and the old Tyrant not looking great either, as we do use the last of our laser beams. Looks like the little tree line here was able to mitigate some of that damage coming in. More Marauders on the way in the back. These are going to be Marauders with spears. And like, I have like a little bit of pressure on all 3 objectives, but look at these Nobblers. They just butchered those Marauders, absolutely butchered them. Now I spent some Horsemen over there, but you got to remember they also have range and Ninja Star. So I'm trying to keep out of range of them while doing a little bit of charging. So going to be charging in here, thinking that the Marauders are keeping those Nobblars busy, but unfortunately I think the Ninja Stars might be able to kind of get in. And now we get some Ogre Bull Iron Fist coming in from Subutai, which is a great choice. The Iron Fist do have shields, so against like Horsemen and Skirmisher type units, those bad boys are doing well. Here we use this big Tzeentch army ability, and you know, I had to get rid of those little trappers, man. They were causing big havoc, and obviously the Severed Claw survived it. I expected that to happen, so we cleared out those 2 full health trappers. And now the objective looks to be flipping while these Screamers here attack the Ogre Bulls with dual weapons. Looking at the point, Subutai is up pretty heavily, so it's kind of looking like we're going to be in a situation where we need a triple cap, to say the least. Down here, we got Iron Guts and more Iron Guts, more Ogre Bulls. A lot of scary stuff on the way as we send up Marauders to try and get this one, but it ain't going to be easy. Iridescent Horror popping around. His value so far about 1,000, so certainly not bad. He's paid for himself, give or take. And the Herald sitting at 1,000 as well. We have a little bit of magic in the back pocket here, and the Severed Claw just proving why they're just such a good unit. Because the thing is, capture weight is based on the amount of models remaining, so even if like aspiring champions have such like a super, I mean, you know, they're beat up HP wise, they often maintain their models because of the high individual HP per model. So that's why you see a lot of Warriors of Chaos players and Tzeentch players using both Severed Claw and regular aspiring champions because of their staying power on objectives and, you know, sustained grinding power too. They don't mess around in that regard. So Subutai noticing here, does grab his Ogre Bulls with dual weapons, heads back to the point. Might be able to prevent the cap here, but overall I think it's going to be a pretty favorable fight for us, as we do have the Halberds. We have our 2 characters, which, you know, they're not great fighters, but 375 weapon strength is still respectable enough. They have 35-35, so those little disc bandits might be able to do their thing. Severed Claw tried to brace for the charge, and it looks like the charge didn't quite fully connect here, so hopefully the big boys of Tzeentch are going to be able to grind down some of the Ogre units. And yeah, they're already losing models. Another Ogre Bull unit sandwiching in, but we do have the Screamers as well as our Iridescent boys, and we're going to see if we can get it done. Now down here, we finally do turn the tide of this fight a little bit. The dreaded Noblar Trappers were dealt with once and for all, And our two Marauder horsemen just throwing javelins into the Ogre Bulls, trying to skirmish and wear them down here. I do have a little bit of a lapse in micro here for a moment, though, and I believe, if memory serves, this game was played a couple weeks ago, but he does manage to get the charge here, and my poor horsemen are going to be taking a little bit of hurt. Blues moving out in all directions. I know it's triple cap territory, so we are going to be pressuring all 3 points. In an ideal world, you just consolidate, methodically push 1 point, secure it, push to the next one, but, you can't always have sunshine and rainbows. And you gotta fight the hard fight sometimes. So here, Screamers trying to clear things out. We do have some Chosen of Tzeentch that have come back from the rally here, so maybe going to be able to get some cap weight. But I did notice something about my build is that I didn't have a lot of, I was running into situations where I just didn't have things to summon, really. I had my elite infantry. You can see they're being unsummoned back here, but I didn't have a lot of chaff units, which certainly was hurting a bit. Screamers descending from the heavens. It looks like the Butcher, the Great Maw, did come back in, and the Screamers are basically just chain farming a lot of these Ogre units. Down to the low ground, we call in another Screamer unit, clearly the MVP, and the Ogre Bull Iron Fist do get wrecked, while the Blues able to put some good hurt on the Noblar Trappers. With a little bit of shooting, they certainly can. And now we should have the opportunity to probably grab objective number 3, as Subutai does clear his points are getting higher and higher, man. But we are up in value, and it did feel that way. As this game was progressing, I felt like I had a lot of little advantages over the battlefield, and the Ogres were mainly just kind of scrapping with their speed and high cap weight to get the points. But the Butcher, as the name would infer, does get butchered. Our characters and Screamers should trade well into these Ogre Bulls, and our little Popcorn Bandits with the remnants of the Severed Claw. 3 Severed Claw! They had 70 HP and 3 models. Didn't hear no bell. Going to be rear charging into those Ogre Bull units and certainly causing some havoc. But we finally do get up here, and this objective is going to be flipping for us. So I foresee that for the rest of this game, we should have a pretty good stranglehold on this one with the Screamer. So, checking one of the objectives off the old list here, as the Javelin's going to be putting some hurt into the Iron Fist. Blues will be putting some shooting into them, and the Screamers should be able to finish off the job. So now we need to work our way up and try and secure the other objectives. But Ogres are a very tough faction to maintain triple objectives from. That is for sure, as the Blues do win the fight against the Ogre Bulls with the 3 Severed Claw helping them out. Here on this point, we do see the Slaughtermaster running once again, and we maintain that value lead. As Screamer is barely taking any shield damage and just chewing through all these units for sure. So I can totally see a meta against Ogres being just even basic warriors with halberds, maybe instead of Chosen with Screamers or Marauders and Screamers. The Screamers are just do so much work. But again, they don't have any cap weight, right? So Ogres do overextend a little bit back here, and suddenly, ladies and gentlemen, it looks like we got a nice little momentum here. Marauders move it up, Blues move it up, Forsaken hustling. Bottom point is under our control, but the Ogres are coming quite relentlessly as more Ogre Bulls make their way in. But the Javelin Masters still giving their nice Javelin fire to that low armor. Massacre is active here from Subutai, which is going to be giving a nice little damage buff. Granted, the demons don't really care about terror or anything like that, and here the Screamers do finish the job. But he might be able to out-capture weight me here. It's a little bit scary, so I need to keep my horsemen nearby. Couldn't quite allocate their resources up to the high ground point. And this grind here has just been so good for us. It's just been so much just value being grinded away, but still we just don't have enough units on the ground. We got Marauders coming up, so finally they did refresh back in the pool. Well, these guys going to be hustling to the high ground point, so we do see the Blues coming. And at this point in the game, I remember I was chatting with Subutai, and I think he was starting to sweat bullets right now, because the low ground is here. I have the value point. This one's looking like it's going to be flipping for us, and we got a couple Forsaken heading here. So I started to believe. I was like, all right, let's get in there. Let's see if we can get objective 2. And maybe the value lead is real enough that despite me being a little bit spread out, he's not going to be able to isolate with his superior Ogre mobility. So the Iridescent Horror and the Herald fighting. Screamers and Spears on their way up. Going to be a very, very nasty combos. We do see objective number 2. Is it going to be flipping to us? We do get some Ogre Bull units up on the point, but I do think overall the Spears and the Blues might be able to hold it. It depends if all these little Noblars come back. That could be a different story, but we do flip that one to the changer of ways. As now this objective looking a little bit dicey as my Iridescent Horror. Now that he's unsupported, not a great combat character. Ogres hit very hard against light armor, which is basically the definition of these Siege Demons. So the Screamer's going to be coming in trying to salvage that situation. Low ground objective, though, is a little bit dicey. The Noblar Trapper's coming in and basically butchering everything. Desperation hold for me. I'm just throwing everything I can, trying to hold. But, the writing was on the wall at this point. I only had 40 seconds left, guys, and even if I do capture this point, I don't think I can hold the low ground point. It looks like he's just maneuvering over with trappers and with the dual weapon bulls, and the Tzeentch forces that are kind of trying to hold that position are getting very beleaguered and soon are going to be routed off, which means that he's going to be able to capture that one. So GG, well played. It was a really fun game. Overall, I think that Tzeentch can totally beat Ogres. I think it's a really fun matchup. I just think my build was very poorly adjusted for the map. It was very elite, very big, very slow, and it wasn't a build that could play the open field very well. So at the end of the day, it was just a very poor build for the map, because honestly, there was many things that went super well for us there. Like, we took the Ogre Lord out, we took out their caster early, we were ahead on value, but we were just spread out. We got spread out too much, and our build was chosen heavy. It was elite. It couldn't cover all that grounds, and didn't have the cap weight to contend with the Ogre. So in retrospect, I think just going wider and playing the 2 low ground objectives, and just kind of playing that open field with a little bit of shooting, using screamers to cover your pinks and blues and whatnot with all that, and just some warrior support. I think that would probably be the way. And honestly, maybe even shielded warriors could be really good at clearing out Noblars as well. It was a really fun match. Well played. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that one, and hopefully you learned the lesson as well. I think on a map like Gates of Ekrund, or an Itza, like a small map, I think this chosen build could work fine. But on a map like this, even though they did good in value, I couldn't play the objectives, and the price was paid. GG. See you guys next time. Take care of yourselves, and well played to my opponent. He played an awesome game.